Hello, everybody. Welcome to GoGoPool, GoGoPro introductions, making Subnets easy. Thanks for coming out. Everyone enjoying the conference so far? Yes. Love it. Raise your hand if you know about Avalanche subnets. Nice. Now keep your hand up. Keep the hands up. Put your hand down, or keep your hand up if you're working on a subnet, working with subnets, or you're in the sphere of working with subnets. Nice. Now, keep your hand up if you're actively developing a subnet. Nice. Yes. Hey, thanks for coming out. Cool. I'll give you some free swag because you kept your hand up. You get some free swag. Hit me up after this and we'll get you some shirts. Cool. Awesome. Well, welcome. My name is Steven. I am the founder of GoGoPool. And now I have GoGoPro as well. My co-founder, Johnny Galt, we both met here at the summit. Actually, we flew out last minute last year, met up, shook hands. There's this moment where I showed him what I was working on a laptop. He turned his laptop around, showed me what he was working on. And we're like, oh my goodness, we're working on the same thing, but we have two different ends of the problem solved. So pretty cool. Since then, GoGoPool, we've raised a VC round, closed that in June, hired out a team. Two of our engineers, raise your hands. Two of the engineers who helped build both of the things that we'll be talking about today are sitting here in the front row. So any questions, we'll be passing around the microphone for you guys to ask questions. I'll answer, and they'll hop in to answer anything I don't know. And yeah, extremely excited. So at GoGoPool, our mission is to help builders bring blockchain to the world. Our chosen vehicle for this is by making subnets easy. Web3, we've seen, has massive demand from large institutions. Brands all over the world are fiercely experimenting with Web3, but the current first-gen blockchains aren't ready for that level of scale. If you're a nascent Uber, right? If you're in a garage somewhere with your friends in Silicon Valley and you're like, I want to make a kind of world, global scale, VC scale blockchain experience, where can you build right now, right? Most people start out on an L1, maybe on Ethereum or on Polygon. Some people experiment with Polkadot. But as soon as they start seeing serious usage, they start getting slammed with high transaction fees and the low TPS from these other L1s. So that's why introducing Avalanche, and this is why we were one of those teams pre-GoGoPool. So when we stumbled upon Avalanche, because we were looking at, okay, but we're seriously trying to create a VC-scaled experience here, right? Like going global with a Web3 component to the app. And after looking at all the options, introducing Avalanche, but they're the next generation blockchain network that's built specifically to help people create sovereign blockchains. We call that subnets. Everyone here is pretty familiar with that. Only Avalanche, especially with subnets, allow for this combo of high TPS, low latency, low transaction costs, and a ton of flexibility, which we'll be demoing off later in a little bit. In 3 to 5 years, we think this tech is the fundamental primitive here, is so powerful that in 3 to 5 years, we really think that the majority of blockchains will be run on Avalanche, right? And it's a pretty glorious thing. I know there's a lot of other noise about other people building different things, but truly in terms of if you're World of Warcraft and you want to deploy a Web3 experience, where can you build right now that can still service your users? Subnets are really the only option at the moment, just by process of elimination. And don't take it from me as well. I think we've all seen the announcements leading up to the summit, but adoption is increasing very quickly. So people, again, are choosing Avalanche because of the good technology, and they see a path of, okay, we'll start off with experimentation, and then this thing can scale actually, if it actually works. Now, these are really big brands. How can we create, again, our mission is to help builders bring blockchain technology to the world by using Avalanche subnets. So what are the barriers to this widespread adoption? Currently, there are 3. Our short-term goal here, our short-term mission, is to solve each one of these barriers, knock them down. So subnets are pretty expensive right now in terms of sourcing your AVAX, sourcing the hardware, where do you get your Explorer, where do you get a wallet, do you need a money transmitter license, what's the regulatory environment around all this? So subnets are pretty tough. Ecosystem support is kind of sparse and spread around. If you have a new, and this is where I would pick on you, Hagen, but if you're trying to create a subnet and you're running into problems, like where do you go to? You know, like hopefully you can talk to Avalanche or hopefully you know us. but like the ecosystem support is kind of spread out, although the community is very strong, and each little pocket is very strong individually as well, but there's nothing that binds them together to connect everything, to create a really good subnet developer experience. And lastly, development's really tough. It's read the docs, read the source code, you run into config errors, message people in the Discord. It's still very early, and we want to help create a much better developer experience so that anybody, any builder, can start experimenting with the blockchain technology, find product market fit, and scale their experience. So let's start with subnets are expensive. The minimum investment to launch a subnet, 200,000 USD right now. This price fluctuates based off the price of AVAX. This is for 5 nodes. The requirement for Avalanche subnets are that every validator node of a subnet must also validate the primary network. That's 2,000 AVAX per validator node. Where do you get the hardware? Where do you get the AVAX? Introducing GoGoPool. Raise of hands if you've heard of GoGoPool before. Wow, that's a lot of hands. Thank you all. That's amazing. That's incredible. I wish you two had seen that. It's like every single hand went up. OK, cool. That's incredible. So GoGoPool is a permissionless staking protocol built for Avalanche subnets, specifically to help them launch faster by sourcing their AVAX and sourcing their hardware for them a lot more quickly and a lot cheaply. Raise of hands, how many people here know when GoGoPool launched? Nice. So we launched on Friday. Yeah, token is live. If you're interested in running a validator node, we'll talk about how the protocol works, et cetera, pretty briefly, and then we'll go into the developer experience. But come find me if you want to run a validator node for 1,000 AVAX plus by staking the GGP token. We're looking for an initial cohort of validator nodes. Nice to see Jean over here as well. Where'd you go? Over there. So GoGoPool really is a mechanism to pool resources together, meaning AVAX, and launch new validator nodes by using the GGP token and liquid staking to amortize the cost. With GoGoPool, operators stake the GGP token, they get matched with AVAX, and they can launch nodes for half the cost at launch. How does it actually work? We have 2 kind of audiences. On one end, there are liquid stakers. Raise of hands, who here has heard about liquid staking before or knows what liquid staking is? Cool, pretty good. We've got a crypto native crowd here. Good to see. So we have liquid stakers. Liquid stakers deposit their AVAX into our deposit pool. They get liquid staking token, go off to do DeFi stuff. Pretty awesome. All that AVAX that's being held in the deposit pool, that can get matched to node operators who are looking to launch new validator nodes. Node operators require 1,000 AVAX, stake 1,000 AVAX, stake 100 AVAX minimum worth of GGP tokens. You get matched with AVAX from the deposit pool. Boom, your validator node gets permissionally launched. These validator nodes are what we call mini pools because they're pulling together resources. They're permissionless and non-custodial, so you can do whatever you want, which, as we'll see, will come in very handy pretty soon. So yeah, magic is in the token. You get rewarded to set up the validator nodes in both GGP as well as AVAX. You get to join the DAO and work with our team for curated working experiences, especially if you're a subnet project. We'll see very soon what we're doing around that. And if you're in the community and you want to help these subnets because you have the hardware, you also, by joining the DAO, you'll have early access to the subnet conversations so you can see where the puck is moving, what do subnets need, what problems they have, et cetera. So boom. Check. Subnets are not really that expensive anymore. And ecosystem support, GoGoPool, we're building this as a vehicle to create this gravitational pool of people who are mission-oriented, help builders bring blockchain technology to the world using subnets. Now, development's still kind of rough. And what I'm about to show you is pure alpha. This is an early premiere of a tool that we've been working on. Our engineers are working on very hard. Pretty excited to show you guys. So the problem statement here is that development's really tough. Here's poor Kermit, no, poor Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs. He's a Subnet developer, and he's just overwhelmed, right? It's like, where are the docs? Let's read all the docs. Wait, there's so many docs. What are these things called precompiles? Do I need the Subnet EVM? Do I build my own VM? Who's going to run the hardware? Where's the AVAX come from? Who's the explorer, right? But really, all I really want as a new developer, I want an RPC URL. Raise of hands real quick. Who knows what an RPC URL is? Cool. For those of you that don't, it's just a way to talk to a blockchain. Devs really need RPC URL so that we can start the development process. Once I have the RPC URL, I want all the infrastructure just to be taken care of. I don't want to worry about the infra. All I want is RPC URL, so I can now start building my custom experience on top of that. Developers really just want to experiment. Before fully investing in subnets, a dev needs the RPC URL, start stress testing, okay, what are subnets? What is this new consensus I hear about? Let's play with this thing. Will it work for me? Introducing GoGoPro. So GoGoPro is a subnet infra platform built specifically for developers to ship simply and quickly. The goal here is to radically simplify the developer experience. So instead of having 3 different command terminals set up to run your nodes, send cast commands, read the docs, quickly double check the docs, go back to the Discord, keep troubleshoot your own laptop, set up your own local environment, et cetera. We want to abstract away all this infra overhead so that, again, devs can just focus, click a few buttons, get a subnet EVM, get the RPC URL, start building on top of it. And lucky for you guys, I have an awesome little demo here of deploying a subnet. So this is GoGoPro. Again, this is kind of an early premiere. This is definitely very much a moving target here, actively being developed. So you can check it out now by going pro.gogopool.com. Things might break, but luckily, anytime you need support, you can come right into our chat support here. And our devs, this goes straight to our internal Slack that we live and breathe. It'll also eventually go to the Discord, so now the whole community can see, all right, this person needs help as developing a subnet. Like, let's boost the signal of people that need help. We have 2 different vectors here. First, what we see as the flow is devs want to experiment on their local machines. So we wrote a tool called GoGo Tools. We can talk about that a little bit later, but for today, we'll talk about this hosted. How do we abstract away all this infra overhead so I can quickly get the RPC URL using somebody else's hardware that they manage to make sure it's really healthy, so I can now start developing my subnet. So we'll get started. First thing to deploy a subnet is just select a template. So first, like subnet EVM is what everybody uses. This is what we're starting with as well. There's also going to be support for like HyperSDK stuff. So Patrick Grady built the token VM, which is pretty cool. So you can basically just load up any VM you want, bring your own binary as well to get customized dev tooling. But again, we'll start with the subnet EVM. I'll name this Avalanche intern. Here's the INT token. The Avalanche intern, I know, he's always been wanting his own subnet. Show of hands, who here knows who the Avalanche intern is? OK, check him out on Twitter. He has some awesome memes. So Avalanche intern has always wanted his own subnet. Let's say it's a gaming subnet he wants to customize. Like, OK, I want my own token. Let's call it the intern token. I also want to restrict transactions to be just the deployer, as well as my personal wallet, or rather my dev wallet. And then these are all the precompiles. Raise of hands, who knows what a precompile is? Nice. So with a subnet EVM, what the Ava Labs team did is they released this notion of a precompile. It lets you customize different aspects of your subnet EVM instance without needing to actually tinker with the VM code. So you can do things, this is where like the Evergreen subnet comes into play, where you can restrict contract deployers, restrict who can send transactions. You can mint native tokens just by issuing a transaction, et cetera. And there's more coming soon. If you want to really, really get in depth, we also expose, a little bit uglier, but we also expose the raw configs. So you can configure basically anything about what, like, where do you want the gas fee sent to, what's your target block rate, et cetera. We can also edit the subnet EVM config directly. So if you like really want to go GoGoPro in pro mode, you can actually edit all this raw stuff. But we set up some sane defaults, so you don't really have to worry about that, just right off the rip, especially to experiment. So for now, we'll just restrict transactions. I'll put my guy on the allow list, click next. Now this is something that's really, really quite fantastic. Now the question is, who's going to run the node? Who maintains the node? Who keeps, like, get the latest version of Avalanche Go going every time that there's something new? Like, who's going to actually maintain the stuff? And this is like really where the ecosystem support comes into play. Really incredible. You can either use one of our nodes, just as a quick little DevNet, and also Chorus One. Raise your hands, guys. So Chorus One is blue chip, app chain kind of validator node hardware operator. They're really big on Cosmos, especially right now, and they really want to help Subnet succeed because they can kind of see the vision here that we're trying to accomplish. Raise of hands, who has heard of Chorus One before? Nice, love it. So when I select this, the whole DevNet is actually going to get spun up on their hardware, right? A developer doesn't have to think about this anymore. Just select what provider you want to use, or coming soon, bring your own hardware provider. People like John, or people who really like mini pool operators from GoGoPool, they can get listed onto this page and start spinning up DevNets and literally help these subnets ship faster. So we'll spin it up on Chorus One. We'll deploy this. Spinning up on their hardware right now, by the way. provision the node. Node is running, and bang, we're in. So what do we see here? We see the RPC URL right up front and center. We see, OK, this is hosted on somebody else's hardware, which is great. Here's a faucet that's built in for you. Here's an Explorer built in for you. Here's a Dynamic. Here's a bunch of test accounts that you can just start with. Here's your chain ID. And here's the real-time logs, your node logs, during your development. Here's your precompiles that you've selected. We selected restrictions actions. Let's just double check. Here's our friendly intern wallet. It is allowed. That's cool. And then let's send me a little bit more money using the faucet, real-time node logs. And now just to demonstrate that these precompiles, the typical DevX is that you set up the precompile and then figure out your own cast commands to kind of hit it. So we're exposing that to the web GUI. So let's remove myself off of that allow list. We can just double check. Did it actually work? Correct. I'm not allowed. Now to triple check. I can try sending myself some funds just by hitting this custom RPC URL directly. So let's plop in my RPC URL. Boom. From intern wallet to with my private key, etc. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, well, let's add myself back, actually. Allow. Send it again. I was able to send transactions. Small, trivial demonstration of the power of precompiles. Check out the Avalanche Evergreen subnet to see how can this bubble up into some sort of KYC or KYB experience, adding in a compliance layer for a subnet. But again, for devs, it's like, all right, I've got my Explorer, right? Just a really basic Explorer, so I can now actually look into these blocks and see what's really going on during my dev process. I've got real-time node log streaming. That's, by the way, also running on somebody else's hardware. I no longer have to worry about where is the hardware hosted and where are the configs here. I've got my precompiles that coming soon also is creating your own precompile and having it be listed on here so you can really customize anything you want about your Subnet EVM instance. I have an extremely easy RPC URL so I can get started really, really easily. And by the way, use all the EVM tooling like Tenderly, use MetaMask, etc. Like use my typical smart contract flow built in. And really coming soon is going to be metrics and logs as well, so that as you bring your own VM, you can spin up a little DevNet across a decentralized set of hardware, and then now I can run integration testing, end-to-end testing, and get logs across everything in metrics to see what's actually happening on the hardware, how close am I to hitting the limit, and what broke for me. So, and last thing is all this is also shareable with your team. So I've created the multi-sig labs team here. But you can imagine developers don't just build by themselves. They always have a team, especially to have somebody else QA the work and just double check, like, are we on the right track or looking into bugs. So you can share this link with your team. They'll have instant permissions to view the logs and everything else we just talked about. And now you all can collaborate together to look at the same one pane, single source of truth here. So everyone can be looking at the same thing, view the same logs, reproduce the errors together. And coming soon, we really want to make that whole team-based flow much more streamlined. So if anyone here is working on a team or working with a team who's working on a subnet, please let me know. I'd love to learn what your pain points are and seeing how we can help in the next 1 to 2 month time frame. So with that, we have the Explorer, et cetera, with the demo. The vision here is, again, mission is to bring blockchain technology, help builders bring blockchain technology to the world by using Avalanche subnets. We're kind of just trying to set up the chess pieces here. So we can have these different Lego blocks where we can get the community involved via liquid staking that actually sources the AVAX for people to launch their own subnets. The node operators and people who are running the nodes, now they can use GoGoPro. And what we haven't talked about at all is what that server provisioning software looks like, where if you're a hardware provider, you can get set up really quickly to get listed on there and start hosting these DevNets. And now with this node operation side, we have GoGoPro to help devs build subnets a lot faster. And you have the actual subnet itself coming soon, GoGoPro with alerting, monitoring, et cetera, so that as your subnet is live, for example, DFK, we want to be give them a really good experience of, okay, great, my subnet's live, what's happening on the subnet? If there's a problem, how do I quickly upgrade and react to this problem, et cetera. So we think this is creating a virtuous flywheel of the community getting involved, more hardware is getting launched, so now subnets can ship faster, all powered with this vision of GoGoPool and GoGoPro, building out these different suites of tooling for each party. And then over the course of 2-3 years, especially as Ava, Gabriel and Aaron are back there, and Usman, as they keep shipping all these wonderful, wonderful primitives that lets builders play on, we'll keep abstracting to make it really, really simple and easy for devs and builders to play with. So over the course of 2, 3, 4 years, the subnets end up powering 80, 90% of app chains that get launched in Web3, so that we can hit across that mission statement of, builders really can have this experience of all barriers to create a world-class, kind of scaled out Web3 experience for their users. Complete control, complete customization. You can start off really cheaply, really flexibly with GoGoPro. You can start scaling with GoGoPool. And then as you keep managing and growing the subnet, create your own customized user experience for people, customize it on the fly. So thank you all for coming. Really feel such gratitude to this community. Again, we got started a year ago. So much has happened since. The team has grown. It's not just me. So 2 of the team members are here. The Chorus 1 team members are right behind them. If anyone has any questions or is building a subnet or wants to run a validator node, I think we'll pass around the microphone right now for any questions. Thank you all.
Thanks so much. That was awesome. I just had a question. If I'm running an AVAX node on that hardware, how many subnets could I theoretically have running on one? How scalable is it?
So the current social truth says somewhere between 3 and 4, but it really kind of depends. Better guy to talk to is right there in the red shirt. I don't know if you can see him, Aaron Buchwald. He created the C chain, and his Stephen Budoff is around as well, and Pog is around as well. So they're probably better to talk to about how can my one subnet or my one Avalanche validator node scale out to handle many, many subnets with horizontal scaling. I know that's in the works, but I don't want to put words in their mouth. But it's right now, common knowledge seems to be around 3 or 4, depending on the size of the subnet, what's the what are the requirements of the subnet, et cetera. But horizontal scaling is coming soon. Any question up here?
I had recently first time to upgrade our
Real quick, microphone.
Hi, thanks for the nice talk. I had recently first the honor to upgrade our subnets and thought that it would be also awesome if we could manage, let this manage somehow. Is upgrades of subnets when protocol changes are happening also included in your service?
Coming soon. We should talk. I'd love to build something with you guys, use you as a case study to let you guys easily upgrade the subnet as you keep building it.
We have a subnet EVM based for financial institutions with is not that much permissionless.
Yeah.
And another one based on HyperSDK, having a database as native subnet approach.
When you say subnet upgrades, do you mean here's a new version of the VM we're pushing out?
Exactly, the first one regarding EVM network upgrades.
So definitely talk to Cameron right here.
Okay.
We were just designing out what would a CI/CD deployment look like so that you can have an insanely nice experience of I change the code of my VM, push it, and then boom, it gets loaded up on the DevNet instantly. RPC URL stays the same, and then you can start running your integration tests right off of that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
Thank you.
Cool. All good? Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming out.